Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your weekly Sofamanager Scottish Football podcast, and on this week we discuss the disaster that was Scotland in European qualifying. Don't know why we should be so surprised, although our predictions from last week would suggest otherwise. We'll skip over that. So in this week's show we're going to discuss a little bit about what went wrong last week and what has been going wrong in Scottish football during European qualifying. We're just not at the races, and we're going to look a little bit more in depth at St Johnstone and FK Trakai and that disastrous Rangers Niederkorn game. Okay, alongside me this evening we've got co-host John Brown. Hello, John.
Hello, Paul.
How are you feeling about Scottish football this week?
Fine and dandy.
Why should we expect anything less? And of course I'm Paul, just a duo tonight, back like we were back at the start of the podcast, John.
Yeah, just like old times.
Nearly celebrating a year on the air, so
It's almost a year.
yeah, pleasure if you've been with us. I don't think any of you have, apart from ourselves. But 25 episodes in a year is not so bad.
That's not bad, to be fair, yeah.
Not so
That's
bad.
alright.
I thought we did terribly at points of the year, but we're still going. Anyway, let's jump straight into it. So, the first topic I have down on my page is Scottish football. What is it good for? Brackets, absolutely nothing. You might be familiar, was it the Sugar Gang? The Sugar Hill Gang? Can't remember. I think it was in Rush Hour.
It's in Rush Hour.
It's in Rush Hour, yeah. That's the song.
It's an iconic Rush
we
Hour
referred
moment.
to. So, yeah, I mean, we should say first and foremost that both Scottish teams in Europa League qualifying round one, being St Johnstone and Rangers, knocked out by lesser opponents in almost every measure we have.
Yep, pretty much.
Pretty much is exactly what happened.
You just don't know what to say about it. You can use any superlative you want. Rubbish, embarrassing, not unexpected at all.
Well, no, I mean, but it highlights, and this is a problem that's been growing for years and years, and it comes to a head every single season.
Pretty much, it's, I don't know if you were listening to BBC Sports Sound with, I think it was Alan Preston.
I only listen to Sofamanager, John.
Well, I like a broad spectrum. But he was sort of stating the point that this happens year on year.
Aye.
We have the same conversation and nothing gets done about it. And, I think part of that is to do with Celtic doing so well. Papers over the cracks.
Yeah, but I mean, even in European qualifying, do Celtic do that well?
They get there, any means necessary.
Fielding ineligible players
for a Polish team and all that kind of malarkey. I don't know. I mean, I would argue that Aberdeen have been incredibly unlucky with who they've drawn with.
Oh yeah.
And on another day they could have made it. Maybe this is their season. But when you look at the other rotten that we've had, I mean, Hearts last season getting pumped out by a team from, I think it was Malta. That's
Birkirkara, if I remember correctly.
Birkirkara. You've had St Johnstone get knocked out 5 out of the 6 seasons that they've been in it. Recently, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Hibs' embarrassment, Falkirk's embarrassment, Dunfermline's embarrassment against an Icelandic team.
Was that not Queen of the South?
They got knocked out as well by someone.
I think it was someone of a similar ilk. But I mean, yeah, as you said, in recent times, St Johnstone are going out so much. We've been beaten by teams from Lithuania, Luxembourg, Gibraltar, Liechtenstein, Slovakia, Malta, just to name a few. And these are teams we look at in terms of the draw, and we just think, who on earth are we playing?
I don't know. There's a degree of arrogance, ignorance.
But we're down there now.
We are down there now, and I would argue again that we've been down there for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from maybe one or two. I mean, I do think Celtic and Aberdeen are an exception at the moment.
Yes.
I mean, this is a huge reaction to 2 horrendously bad results.
But how? I mean, this could affect. I think I don't think it's having a huge impact on Aberdeen, but it's nice to have kind of wingmen, in a battle such as this. So it's not good, and as you said, St Johnstone going out so many times. I mean, the only teams to progress through the qualifying stages in the modern era would have been, Celtic, Rangers, Hearts. Did it in 2004-2005. Do you know who they beat to get to the UEFA Cup group stages?
Was it a Portuguese team?
It was a Portuguese team. Very good.
It wasn't Braga.
Oh, it was Braga.
Was it Braga?
Oh, points to John. How on earth do you know that?
I just that back in my mind.
They beat Braga to get to the group stages. One round of qualifying.
Alright.
Aberdeen to get to the group stages of the UEFA Cup beat. They went through on away goals against Dnipro.
It was Dnipro.
One qualifying round.
Yep.
And then Celtic and Rangers have had their ups and downs. Rangers struggled especially, in their kind of previous guys. And Celtic had a few poor, qualifying campaigns too.
Oh yeah, it's not, at this stage in time, no one can possibly claim the moral high ground in all this. It's just, you get the abuse the Rangers are getting just now about the team from Luxembourg.
Mm-hmm.
Their immediate response was, but Celtic got beat by Lincoln Red Imps in Gibraltar. Yeah, granted, they recovered from that. Celtic also got beat, 5-0 off, the name has escaped me. It wasn't Bratislava.
Well, I saw Aberdeen's worst European result was 8-1 against Sigma Olomouc
Yep.
of Czech Republic.
There was a 5-1 hammering in amongst all that.
Well, 8-1 on aggregate. So does this just highlight to us that Scottish football is ultimately rubbish?
Pretty much.
I guess, what we're saying here is no revelation to anybody, but I guess it needs to be said.
It does need to be said, and there is a hell of a lot to be said in it. You don't know where to start.
Well, I guess one of my first points is, Rangers being knocked out by Progress Niederkorn. I think there was more Rangers fans there than Niederkorn's back then.
Yep.
And Niederkorn are a part-time team. Now, I don't care about any measure. If you do something all the time, you should be better than someone who doesn't do it all of the time.
Pretty much.
We, podcasting on a part-time basis, shouldn't be as good as, Richard Gordon or Chick Young.
Well,
there's an exception. But you know what I mean? As a professional, and this is a word I'm struggling to associate with Scottish football now, to be brutally honest.
There's so many ways to look at it. If you're taking your argument about part-time versus full-time, added on to that, the Rangers have spent, an accumulative £10 million on that squad?
Aye.
And you can't possibly define that as part-time. That's an attitude problem.
Oh, attitude, absolutely. But one of the points they're arguing this week, especially St Johnstone manager Tommy Wright, is he just doesn't have the ability in his team. He doesn't have the technical ability, is one of the things argues. Well, technical ability comes from practice, it comes from training. And, you're wanting players with the ability, train them.
Pretty much.
Practice the passing, practice the shooting, because we can't do anything. Nothing.
No, it was all very slow, predictable. Nothing sort of cutting edge up front. I only really watched the Rangers game. I didn't have an opportunity to see anything from the St Johnstone game.
Well, I was on holiday at the Henley Regatta.
Oh, well.
I was indulging in the different part of life. But I think it was pretty hard to see anything of the St Johnstone game, to be honest. I've tried to look for highlights, nothing. Maybe that's for the best.
Aye. Keep it hidden in a vault.
I know. But no, in my notes I've got players are technically very poor. I don't know many good passers of the game. I don't see many creative players. There's not many players in Scotland with football intelligence. And then on that same scale, they're kind of physically lacking as well. There's not.
You're not looking at guys that are 6'2", really built like an athlete.
No, and even then they're not fast.
Yeah,
they're not athletic. They're nothing.
They're nothing but spectacular by any stretch.
No,
a collective rabble, really. And you kind of wonder about that as well when you look at the kind of individual you can produce for rugby, for instance. They are really big physical guys, Scottish, come at the same. I was going to say the same school system. Well, no, that's a lie. But
not far off in some cases.
You look, it's the same culture, same people. Surely, in a football sense, we can have that kind of stature of a player rather than them being 5'5".
Aye. And you look at all the Falkirk youngsters coming through. I use that example because it's the local team and all. They're skinny, kind of lanky. And when someone does come through with the physicality, i.e. Callum Patterson, they tear up the league like there's no tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And you look at some of the pace, as Scott Sinclair, tears up the league. And similar with players of strength. Like, you just can't handle them. And you compare the training facilities of someone like Rangers to what Niederkorn, I just presume Niederkorn train on their pitch or something, because
high up the public park.
And Murray Park is a state-of-the-art facility, to produce some of the best footballers going, both physically and technically.
I mean, you wonder what they do all day.
That's my point.
Yeah, I mean...
What do they do?
I mean, it's not like they go, well, and get these guys at 17, 18 where they've already kind of developed, and you're going, no, because you start these guys at 6, 7 year old. Into
But
these
then,
academies.
even if you're 25, 26, you can improve your passing with a good training regime. Like, you look at...
Maybe.
But if you look at American sports as an example, what will often happen there is in the summer, like a basketballer or an American footballer will go away and work on part of their game, be it, like, for a basketballer, it might be mid-range shooting, it might be, rebounding, something like that. They go and work on that, and they come back better for that. And you're telling me, you can't work on passing over a summer, say, and get better at it?
Oh, I wouldn't dispute that. I think if you're looking for a kind of fundamental... I think there was the argument Tommy Wright made of an individual at 28 is not going to be able to see a pass. You can't teach that anymore.
Well, no, creativity is a
it all
different
comes
thing.
back to the youth development. And we're going through another guys at the moment about Project Brave with Malky Mackay. We don't even know who the clubs are going to be. We don't know the amount of elite academies that are going to exist. And these are all designed for an argument that was made, I think, on Off the Ball, of it's for middle class kids as well.
Yes.
The amount of money you need to spend to go to these kind of things, like, you're already pricing out a group who might have the drive and determination to do a lot more than what a middle class kid would do. Because,
Get the middle agers into the youth. No, I see your point, though. I would also argue, though, that even sometimes the lower class just wouldn't have the focus or the concentration.
I think, no, it depends. I mean, like, pretty much every quality player that we've ever produced all came from a working class background. And I think they understood just what it meant. There was a bit more passion about it all. I mean, I have no disrespect, I mean, we are fundamentally middle class when we're sitting here doing it. And we never took football much very serious. It was all other things,
Women, mainly.
Well. Speak for yourself. Academics, mate.
Academically. Yeah, I mean, for me, football's not something that came to me until a bit later. And I did play it competitively, but again, I had other things on my plate. I had, like, exams, and, it wasn't the be-all and end-all. But, if you put me in an Aberdeen shirt or something like that, I would have given...
You would try your damnedest.
Yeah, exactly. And,
it's a lifestyle choice, isn't it?
It is. And, I mean, you can identify that you're not picking the players up from here and there, but, you are picking players up. And... these guys, I think training regimes finish at lunchtime most of the time. The afternoon they generally have off to kind of rest and do their own.
I believe so. I don't know how it really works. I mean, this is all kind of a shot in the dark, but I mean, if you watch, I don't know if you follow any European clubs. This is the guy
In a Paris Saint-Germain top,
indeed. They do double sessions, the afternoon session.
I mean, if these guys are full-time footballers, they should be on full-time training regimes. Like, they should be freaking like sweeping the stand after the game, as far as I'm concerned.
It shouldn't even be on-pitch training either. They should be sitting in a classroom looking at tactics, looking at proper kind of footage of the last game, your opponent. And I mean, sit in a classroom. Have you been watching All or Nothing on Amazon Prime?
I haven't seen it, no.
Brilliant. And it's like, follows NFL teams. I know they've got the facilities that simply outclass everything else. But the fundamentals there. You have your training in the morning and you have your classroom in the afternoon with your department as a whole, even just individually, and you look at certain aspects of your game. And that's something that we should be doing. It's not beyond the realms of possibility.
No, I mean, that would develop a better footballing mind, for example, and creativity could be a part of that. And, we definitely have those facilities, because I know that Aberdeen, for example, signed a partnership years ago, like a wee side announcement with some media company, to get the footage from other games. And I'm sure every club now has access.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Falkirk have the Falkirk TV footage. It's not perfect, I think, for some tactical analysis, but
it's better than nothing.
And on Championship level, we're not really so fussed.
I mean, we're not talking about Morton, like having like a lecture theatre
No.
in their main stand. You know, it's like,
These, if you want to create good footballers, you know,
You have to have that investment.
everyone's just, you're like, oh, we'll leave you to it. You know, it's your responsibility. And people aren't taking the responsibility for their own ability. They're not driving themselves on
oh, aye. I mean,
to be good professionals.
I would love to get a hold of like a club like Hearts, who have that big agreement with Heriot Watt
Right.
to use the Oriam Centre. It's the best facility in Scotland, I think, without question. And to actually see just how much of the facilities that they're actually getting used to, you know, like, I mean, you can almost guarantee those lecture theatres are lying empty.
Oh, aye.
Even if there's a lecture going on, they'll still be lying empty. Yeah, you could rent out a classroom, like bring in your forward, sit them in a.
Do you think they like that, though?
Tough, that's what they're paid for.
Well, I know.
They're full time.
I know.
What else are they going to do? Sit in the house and play FIFA?
Aye.
Like, that's not going to teach you tactics.
Well, that's what I saw, like...
It'll teach you good team chemistry.
It depends how you build your ultimate team, for sure. But no, exactly. These are the sort of things they should be... And they might be kind of doing them already, but it doesn't strike me that
It doesn't
they
look like
are.
they're doing it, that's the thing.
I mean, you look at these other teams, you know, coming back to the kind of Trakai and Niederkorn. So I think the first Trakai goal at St Johnstone McDermott Park was a screamer. Like, you know, right foot, top bag. And, you know, that finish alone, you know, won them the match, essentially. And none of those St Johnstone players can produce that.
No,
None of those.
not at all.
And then on the same level, at Niederkorn, I think either their first or second goal, it was the guy kind of driving wide, ran round the defender, hit just a powerful ball into the box, striker got in front of defender, goal.
Oh, aye. It was well executed.
It was well executed, it was direct, but it was simple. You know, it wasn't tactical genius or brilliance. I've not seen a Scottish team do that all season.
2 passes and you had cut the defence wide open. Like, it was a really good piece of play.
But then also, you know, for our striking woes, I think defensively we're horrendous as well.
I mean, that's always been a problem.
Well,
Even the national team's got that problem.
I'm thinking back, you know, the games we generally watch are Falkirk games in the Championship. Local team, John's a foolish man and is a season ticket holder.
Yep.
I only suffer every now and then. But last season, I think I don't ever remember at a Falkirk game saying, good goal. Every goal I think I saw there was a huge defensive mistake capitalised on, you know, by a striker who finished kind of flimsily. And this is for both teams. This is not just for Falkirk.
Oh,
it was for every single team in the Championship. Nobody...
I mean, you're really hard pushed to find someone score a 20-yard screamer from outside the box, or really, really good movement, skin the defender, and then take the shot.
No.
It's all very much a lapse in concentration. You know, maybe a corner into the box isn't defended properly, that kind of thing. But
Well, the defensive organisation, I think, is poor. And I think defenders lack the correct mentality most of the time. You know, they're always looking shaky, they're always looking nervous for any team, you know, across Scotland. Maybe apart from Celtic. But then Celtic go on to the really big stage in the Champions League and then they look nervous. Because what they're playing here, I mean, you know, think of how heavily would Barcelona beat Niederkorn? You know.
it doesn't even bear thinking about, really. I mean,
It doesn't.
Yeah, you're right. You've got to kind of look at it in terms of the capability as well of the club, in terms of what money they've got to spend, of course. But I just feel they're lacking in a wee bit kind of outward helping themselves. You know, like
Thinking.
yeah. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, well, it's just an organisation, isn't it?
Okay, I mean, if you take Falkirk right now, the nearest institution to them is the Falkirk College, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing about that? They don't seem to be sort of in collaboration with them. They could have a big sports facility being built there, paid for by the government because it's a college, and run sports science, and the club could benefit off that. You could have all your youth development there. You could have all these nutritionists, all these sports scientists, fitness coaches, physiotherapists, whatever you wanted, all coming out of the college. You know, that's the kind of strategic goal that these clubs should have. Is, you know, you partner up with whatever's close to you. You look at that kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure like Dundee College, Dundee Universities, Dundee and Dundee United could be doing a lot more with these kind of institutions. Because at the end of the day, It's work experience as well.
Game of two halves.
Indeed.
I think for me, something like that is quite expensive, and I think short term, focus on what you have.
It could be expensive, but like I said, you could have that.
All the MEU grants, we're not going to get anymore.
Okay, so if you are, let's say, you played for Inverness, right? And you get to use whatever college or universities in Inverness, use all their facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, effectively, you're going to be working with students, right? So when that student...
Oh, I tell you what, footballers near students.
Well...
No.
That's a different style of coaching.
Oh, we're going to have different kinds of injuries, coming into football in the near future.
Well, I kind of wondered how Andy Murray got his hip.
Well, exactly.
But it's work experience for these guys as well.
Oh, what kind of work experience? I see what you mean. Partnerships can only benefit, and including technology, because I think that is a part of the game. There's a problem as well. It's all about old hat. A lot of traditionalist guys. Not a lot of kind of younger managers coming through. It's all very much the old guard, and look how well even the young guard, such as Cathro, are doing at Hearts, and how well these sort of different approaches are being welcomed. So yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, in terms of what we are watching now, do you think we're paying far too much to watch? Are there 50,000 idiots going to Ibrox on a weekly basis paying to watch part-timers, on full-time basis?
Of course. There's 3,500 idiots going to Falkirk every week to watch that as well.
Aye.
Paying 20 quid a pop,
It's terrible.
I paid a fortune for my season ticket this season.
Exactly.
And I'm just a student.
And you think about, we had debates, kind of recently about, Scottish teams could manage it in the Championship. Radically different. I think League 2, even like Vanarama drivers could have probably beaten, Niederkorn, let alone, the teams in there. So, and the English, people must just be, because I saw when I was down south at the Henley Regatta, if I do say so myself, watching the glorious boatmen and women. Anyway, I swing both ways, me. There was an article in the newspaper about Rangers being punted out by Niederkorn, and this is in the English version of it, and they never would have touched on it. They didn't say a word about St Johnstone, but Rangers being punted out by total minnows, and that made big news, big headlines across the world. And that well, it was a team we predicted would make the group stages.
Yeah, no, looking like a bit of an idiot.
And yeah. So, one method they've suggested of solving this is summer football. And John's actually written quite an interesting article about this on Sofamanager.com. So head over there and check that out. But you're not a big advocate for... Dick advocate for... Advocate. Sorry. For summer football, aren't you?
As an isolation project, no, it's a waste of time. Okay, that's a bit naive. Summer football would be good, but by no means should it be used as the silver bullet to solve all problems.
Well, we come back to our European games. Yes, Trakai were mid-season, Niederkorn were not.
No.
So, that argument falls to pieces.
Yeah, I think it was Alan Preston on the radio who was trying to make the argument, we should be having I think it was sort of end of February to October, November season. And this makes it so you're actually following like a Lithuanian calendar. So St Johnstone would have been up to speed, and his argument was an up to speed St Johnstone would beat an up to speed FK Trakai. Okay, that's a bit of an academic point.
Well,
you don't know.
Apparently Trakai were mints.
I wouldn't be surprised, but so was St Johnstone.
Aye.
But you can't possibly make that argument that it's going to improve our chances in Europe if Rangers are getting pumped out by a team who haven't even started. They were a week back.
I think, our problems are far bigger than that. And our problems are, again, the poor defensive organisation, the poor technical ability, the poor physical, the poor chance creation and finishing is killing Scottish football. I think that's something that stems all the way through to the national team as well.
This has been a systematic failure for years. And you're really seeing it now, and it's getting highlighted more and more as we drop lower and lower. and it's all about what we do now. Don't judge it for 5 years and then see where we are, because these projects take time, obviously. People won't look at it that way in the short attention span.
Yeah.
Myself included. But that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to have to fall further before we start getting better again.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't think something like Project Brave is the solution, because, you know, even if that does produce a golden generation, you know, they'll all leave. And I believe in this day and age, it is so hard if you're not one of the big nations to really break through without humongous amounts of money, you know, to produce the top clubs.
I don't know. I mean, I think you can look at places like Iceland, who have produced 11 really good players as a team on a minimal budget. I mean, I've heard if you do go to Iceland, it's just full of AstroTurf pitches and indoor facilities. Scotland doesn't have that for whatever reason, lack of government funding.
Well, I kind of think it's a different cultural thing too. I think the Icelandics are a much healthier and more active bunch of people. It's the reality. I mean, you go to football on a Saturday, you know, in Iceland it'll be lots of good-looking blonde people, you know, having an apple or a banana. Here, it's like greasy Scotch pies and a like bubbling bovril. You know, it's a totally, it's a totally different thing. But no, that's a good point you bring up. Actually, I mean,
I'm not opposed to summer football. Like, to get back to that point, not against it. There's far more enjoyment sitting in the piss and rain in the middle of July than there is in
well, I mean, to talk a little bit on the next show coming up, we're going to preview the Betfred League Cup.
Hey.
And some of the best games I went to last year was, you know, Sunset, Falkirk Stadium. Nice. It must have been, 20 degrees. I'm just in a t-shirt and shorts, enjoying the football.
Aye, not a great game, but
no,
enjoyable nonetheless.
Terrible football. I was wasn't about taking Instagrams. So happy days there. So good pictures. And, you know, school holidays, people are off. You know, it's win-win for everybody.
It is. I mean, I can't tell you that you spend the close season on a Tuesday night and you're thinking, just want to go to a game of football. Like,
aye. I think for me as well, to address this kind of European issue, they need, you know, almost ditch their summer break. You know, these European ties need to be very, very important to them. And I say that because this year we revealed a new prize pot for the Betfred League Cup. Did you see this?
Aye, we're up marginally.
Oh yes. Do you know how much if you win the Betfred League Cup you get?
$250,000.
250 grand.
Aye.
How much do you get if you make the Europa League group stages?
A couple of million. Can't remember the figure.
£2.3 million.
Aye.
£2.3 million. 10 times the amount you get the Betfred League Cup. And, you know, these players are taking a summer holiday 2 weeks before. St Johnstone had barely kicked a ball in anger. They played, I think, a friendly against Aberdeen and got pumped 3-0. And, you know, you're £2.3 million.
Aye, you're kind of throwing it in the drain. Even to
have 2 weeks in MAGA. Getting some disease or some...
Depends on how much you're paying in MAGA.
No offence to people that go to MAGA, obviously. Our best friends are going there very soon. Tremendous. But, you know, I just feel they're not taking it seriously enough.
No, they're not taking it seriously. It's an attitude problem.
Oh,
what I would say, though, is say you did switch to a summer league, solves all your problems to get to the group stage. What's the problem with that?
We play through winter.
They play through winter. The group stages didn't finish to the middle of December.
But
and we're a month and a half into our break.
Who cares, John? We've got 2.3 million for the group stage. You get like 400 grand for playing a freaking game in the Europa League.
You know the argument that would follow, though, because it would come from Celtic. It would be, oh, we can't progress because we've got a summer season.
Progress.
Hey.
But teams have done it. I mean, Zenit, I think, you know, played Liverpool in the last 32 of the Europa League a few years back, and they
did get to the UEFA Cup final as well.
They got to the... Aye.
So they don't necessarily play a summer league, though. They have a winter shutdown that's quite extensive.
Yes.
And to be honest, it does look like a summer league, but it's not, strictly speaking,
a summer league.
That.
Yeah, I mean... I think if getting to the group stage is first and foremost. Yes, if Scottish football then rises to the levels where we can go further, you know,
it becomes an issue.
We can flip flop though. You know, we can just shift the league back, slowly but surely ebbing it back until we have, the summer break again.
I mean, you can just have a ginormous winter shutdown, January, February.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't work. It's just a mess.
I mean, the argument I think they had on Radio Scotland was do it when the World Cup's in Qatar, during the winter.
Oh, good. So we've got another 6 or 7 years
to organise it.
Disaster waiting to happen.
But no, I guess the final point for me is, it's written down on my sheet of paper rather grimly, to be honest. I say, give up. Scottish football will never reach the heights it has before. Scale back the game to being summertime only, not even like autumn or anything, just summer.
Summer leagues.
Like, I'm talking like, Wimbledon-esque. Scottish football is like a 2-week tournament.
Just scrap 11v11 and bring back the 10 and 6s.
Well, yeah, 5s. Because it's amateur. And, that's what I'm paying to watch as it stands currently.
Pretty much.
Just give up. Absolutely give up.
Well, tennis is a national sport until Andy Murray gets kicked.
Well, exactly. I think, Celtic and Rangers, whatever, go and join, the English Premier League or something like that. But
Way enough fun, lads. Who cares?
Anyway, moving on to the Rangers game.
Specifically.
versus Rangers. Again, I was away in what I like to call Henley-on-Thames, not Henley-on-Thames, because of the amazing talent on show.
Okay.
Posh Oxford girls, couldn't say a word to them because we're worlds apart. But
I don't speak Latin.
No. Did you row at Oxford? No, I went to Robert Gordon University. We have a boat race. It's sort of a curve. We don't have a straight piece of river. But by the way, so
it's a banana boat.
Aye. Niederkorn beating Rangers 2-0. Jeez, I can't believe I'm actually saying that on the day. And lots of social media jokes floating about. Did you see any of these, John?
Well, 1 or 2.
We saw Kashinya should be joining the Brexit cabinet. He's the fastest way out of Europe. And there was a few good pictures and things floating about as well. So, where do we start? I guess the first thing I would note is there's been a big change in tone from the fans following the first game. Because I was very critical of it on the Instagram page, and people were saying, a win's a win. Shut up, you wouldn't be saying that if it was Celtic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It is. But the second time round, there was much more embarrassment and much more anger, I think, from the Rangers fans.
I mean, it's a real kick in the teeth for them, that's for sure. I've said it all along, and I'll say it again. I think Kashinya's a bit of a fraud.
Aye.
I don't think he's got it in him to produce what Rangers are after. I do not understand it.
What was he doing? I think, that game they probably needed to, although we fully expected them to go out and win 5 or 6-0, they also, after the way the first game went, which was pretty edgy.
I mean, I actually thought Rangers were in control without doing anything about it.
Yeah.
They were quite, I was going to use the word good there, as that's a bit
strong.
Extreme. They were okay up to the sort of final third, and they lacked that one player who would be on the end of it. You're looking at a poacher, you're looking at a guy, pains me to say it, looking like Chris Boyd, who would just be in the box and wouldn't move.
I spotted in the airport going to their, I think, training camp in Portugal.
For Kilmarnock.
So it was somewhere abroad, I'm sure, actually. He was hanging about W.H. Smith waiting for his blonde buddy. Another Kilmarnock player who I did not know. Aye. Truth be told. But, he was eyeing up the Dairy Milk Oreos, I'll tell you. I told him, no, Chris, you're chubby enough as it is. But
I'll get yourself a pint.
Aye. But no, I would absolutely agree with that. The best player from the first leg, from what I was hearing, was definitely Cranshaw, who started the second leg, which some people were a bit critical of because they thought they maybe should have been holding a bit more than maybe being a bit more adventurous and going for it, which ultimately killed them.
I mean, it wouldn't have made any difference. They still lacked that one individual up front who could actually put the ball in the net and have a reasonable target for your attacking midfielders, who didn't look all that bad.
But who were they attacking? Rossiter?
No, Rossiter's more of a holding player, if I remember right.
But they're all holding midfielder. Jack's a holding midfielder.
I don't understand that signing of Jack, but fair enough. Because you've just signed Dorrance, who's almost exactly the same positional player. Now you had Cranshaw, who looked okay. Tavernier got to the byline quite a few times, but but again lacked that striker in the box. Kenny
So
Miller kept dropping far too deep.
So say if you had a player like, I don't know, Barry Mackay, would he have helped massively in situations such as those?
Yes, because he's not afraid to cut in and take a shot.
Oh dear
you know.
goodness. What is going on? Again, I know Rangers fans are hugely disappointed that Barry Mackay has left to go to Nottingham Forest. You know, in
It's
terms
not
of
even good money.
What?
It's not good money for him either. That's
Was it a few $100,000?
500,000 for Barry Mackay. I mean, by no means a Rangers fan, but you know, he was the standout from the season in the Championship.
Totally agree.
He tore Falkirk apart. And I thought, you know, he's really onto a game. He could be a good player going forward. A little bit short, but you know, I mean, so is James Forrest if you're going to look at a Celtic perspective.
Well, you know, Mackay was beating, you know, like O'Halloran and stuff out the team, so very, very kind of established players in the Scottish League. And Kashinya's just, he's not even been interested in, you know, looking at him. He has argued, I think, training attitude has been one thing, which is something, you know, we discussed as being very, very important.
Well, when you're wearing green boots, that's a disaster.
Aye, but you know, you don't. What is that? By the way, like, you know, we can't wear the same colour as our enemies, and you're going.
Yeah, like I thought we kind of moved on from all that.
Jeez, Aberdeen are in blue. You know, deal with it.
Aye.
Love that kit. Don't have enough money to buy it, but I will. Which will bring us on to our top 10 kits of the Scottish League as soon as they release some more of them. Some really good ones out there. So no, I mean, will any of the new signings do anything of note at all?
I doubt it. I think Dorrans, once he settles in, will look okay. Just because he's Graham Dorrans. I think he's a good player. It's impossible to say about the rest. I mean, you don't know how Bruno Alves will cope.
No. Well, I know that, what was it, like, Dalcio was playing, I think Morelos was playing.
If Dalcio's the one I'm thinking of, I think he looked okay. He played a little bit of the second leg. Could have done a wee bit better. But honestly, none of the other new signings stood out. Because you've still seen Kenny Miller popping up and making all the chances. Tavernier, Lee Wallace even was, you know, it was, I don't know, it just seemed like a complete and utter calamity from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, from the highlights I saw, Rangers just didn't look motivated properly. I mean, it looked like a lethargic performance.
It looked like a pre-season game.
Very much so. And a lot of people have been criticising, you know, Lee Wallace this week in that, you know, does he really deserve to be captain anymore? Yes, he's stuck with them through all the leagues, but, you know, is that enough anymore? And has he been hiding a bit in that role? You know, is he actually even a good fullback anymure?
Well, like Johnny's come to an end.
Well, I don't see him making the bombing runs down the wing, because he used to get them out of a lot of bother. You know, by getting out, getting round the wide man, getting some good crosses in.
No, I do wonder if they'll start to try and move him inside, give him a centre-back kind of...
Oh, they need new centre-backs.
Oh, Bruno Alves, again, you don't know what kind of player you're getting there. Good player internationally, whatever else. He was playing for Cagliari.
Aye.
In Serie A, who, by all accounts, are rubbish.
Completely.
Like, so I don't... It's a weird signing. Portuguese has...
It can't be any worse than, what, Bateman or something like that, who just...
Aye, wasn't great.
Nah.
Danny Wilson.
Still continues to be pretty bad. I'm actually amazed that Dorrans has agreed to join that team, you know, after that result. I really thought that would spark some kind of huge warning signs.
I don't know, maybe they give him an EBT.
Well, maybe. But, you know, we're now looking at this could be our second best team in Scotland next year.
No, I think Aberdeen have got that in the bag.
Aberdeen should have that, fingers crossed. So, no, any other words to speak of in the Rangers game, you think?
Nope, forgive and forget.
No, forget. I'm sure a lot of people won't do that. So, Kashinya sacked for you think?
I'll give it to October.
October.
It's a race between him and Cathro.
Well, so who's going to be sacked first? We'll wait and see. We'll discuss that a little more in our Betfred League Cup preview show. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, so to the next game to talk about. FK Trakai versus Johnstone. The game was a 1-0 loss. Ultimately, it didn't matter. And the goal they did concede, you know, I think there were two defenders back. It was the 87th minute.
Aye, they were really pushing forward.
Forward.
I mean, we don't know a huge amount about the game because we haven't seen pictures of it.
I've seen bits and bobs, and you know, I've read some things about it. They were saying, I think, the boy Joe Shaughnessy
I had 6 or 7 chances.
had 4, I think, sitters, and they were kind of lambasting him for that. And I was like, well, Joe Shaughnessy's not a striker.
Aye, he's a centre back.
He's a centre
Right
back. I think he's playing more centre back from what I heard. And I was like, why is he the guy that's getting these 4 chances?
Who's your striker?
I think, was it Kane? I think was their main man, Chris Kane or something like that. Not Harry, unfortunately.
No.
Had a pretty poor game. A guy that was a big influence in the first leg, Stefan Skogel? Aye. I don't know how you pronounce that. Who was quite direct in the first leg, just didn't seem to have it, and came off for, I think, David Witherspoon, in this game. And that, I think signals that they really miss someone like Danny Swanson in a role like that.
They kind of missed his creativity.
But, he must have been the guy to get them to 4th last year, I think. Because I don't remember many of them scoring many goals. And Stephen McLean, again, on the bench, not wanting to play because of the turf. Because of medical advice.
I don't understand that either.
1 game, Stephen, Where's the commitment there?
I know. It's all just a kind of calamity for St Johnstone. I don't understand it. Tommy, he's a good manager, no question. And he made some very astute points sort of after both legs. And his sort of reading of the game is very good.
Yes.
I do rate him as a manager. His recruitment going into the sort of 2 games wasn't great by any stretch. They'd lost 4 or 5 good players. Didn't really replace them.
Nope.
They got Skugel in a wee bit too late for match fitness.
They got the fullback Tanzer in as well, who was a bit of an unknown quantity. But he came out and lambasted the quality of his players. But that squad, I think, is going to comfortably finish in the top 6 again this season.
Every chance. I don't know who would challenge. I think you're looking at Hearts and Hibs having a wee bit of resurgence, and then you're kind of looking at, well, who's going to finish 6th? I like the big county or St Johnstone, I think, at the moment.
One of the 2, yeah, I would agree with that.
We'll see how that goes for him, but
I still think that's a strong team. He had a number of striking options there. He's got quite a good midfield, to choose from. There were some injury concerns going into the game, but
I think he thought the squad had enough to get them over the line.
Aye.
Into the next round, and then by the next round there's not a huge amount of pressure on them to actually achieve anything.
Well, it would have been that good Swedish team that we would all have been like,
you're probably going to get beat, lads.
Cool. Former Hearts defender Davidas Chesnauskas was brought into the squad due to injuries, and he, I think, is like 37 or something like that.
I think so.
And they still couldn't score past him.
Nah.
Still couldn't score past him. So I did joke on the Instagram page in jest that we shouldn't let them represent us in Europe again, because of that point you make at the start of the show that they've been knocked out 5 of the 6 seasons. So do you think that's a legitimate prospect that we hand the place to someone else?
Like, you've had your time.
Well, the thing was, they finished 5th. 4th, correct. And they only got that place because Celtic won the Scottish Cup.
Yep.
Aberdeen were runners-up, even though I don't think it goes to the runners-up in...
Doesn't go to the runners-up anymore. It's all to do with the winner.
So they went there. So it's not really their Europa League place. It's just been kind of handed off down to them because nobody could win the Scottish Cup.
But it's a weird way of looking at it.
It is a weird way of looking at it.
Because I don't know if I would have...
So we have justified it on the Instagram page.
Because you used to go to the runner-up of the Scottish Cup, and I think that had a detrimental effect.
Well, that got us into a lot of bother.
Coefficient when you look at who was runner-up.
Well, we got Falkirk, Queen of the South.
Gretna. You're going quite far back there.
But we've had some random teams. Gretna's it?
Yeah, Gretna got to the final. They got beat off Hearts.
Aye, but they got the European place, didn't they?
They got the European place. I don't know who they got beat off, but they did get beat.
Aye, they did get beat.
I'm sure they got promoted that season as well.
Something weird like that. But you see, even if we put a Scottish All-Stars team together, right, to go out in Europa League qualifying, if we put just 2, you know how at the end of every season, you get like an MLS All-Stars game, don't you?
Yep.
If we do that, 2 teams, do we even then get past the first round?
Yeah, I think you would.
Would you?
Well, it depends on what teams you're kind of lumping into this.
I don't know. Well, it'd have to be...
If you take out...
You'd leave Celtic to do their own thing.
If you leave out the Old Firm and you just had the rest, yeah, quite comfortably. Because it would mostly Aberdeen players.
See if we had like Louis Moult, for example, at the head of that St Johnstone team.
Different story.
Would that have helped?
Well, you just need that striker Leon Boyce. Someone like that.
That would be good.
That would have been...
That would be amazing.
That would have done the job. That's what you really needed.
Yes. Could we logistically actually do that within the rules?
I don't know.
can we not just loan these players out for 3 weeks at the start of the season?
Emergency loan. Just make sure they're not cup tied.
And they call them like, I don't know, St Johnstone Thistle.
In a weird kind of way, Celtic are doing that this season. We're not selling anybody till we get to the group stages of the Champions League.
That's a good shout, actually. So I like that idea. Scottish All-Stars, just to, like, you know, have you ever seen the Mighty Ducks?
No.
Oh. Okay, you need to watch the Mighty Ducks. Ice hockey film, you know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And
I've been to the place.
I think it was the second or third one. They got like the national team together. It was basically the Mighty Ducks plus the best of everyone else. Okay. And the film was this big thing about them bonding to play the best together and all that jazz. No one wanted to be put into the first team, but it worked, and they won the World Championships. So
it's a bit like Space Jam.
Yes, very much so. That would have been a good example too. Let's create a Space Jam SPFL team. Tell you what, we should put that together for next week and see who we come up with. Who would St Johnstone or Rangers needed? I would have changed most of that Rangers team, truth be told. I think.
I would have changed all of the St Johnstone team. Just for balance.
Very much so. So, no, Aberdeen and does Celtic get underway next week?
Yeah, Friday,
so both getting underway. I think I saw Hearts beat Linfield 4-1 in a friendly, so shouldn't be too much of a worry for Celtic. I think they beat
Shamrock Rovers 9-0.
I think that was a speculation. I don't know. Was that a confirmed result?
Yep. So I've seen the highlights.
So they should breeze that. Hopefully don't have another Lincoln Red Imps moment. Aberdeen now confirmed to play Široki Brijeg of Bosnia. So they should be a little bit tired after coming through their Kazakhstani phase.
Aberdeen should be delighted that they're not going to Kazakhstan.
Oh, absolutely. So hopefully Aberdeen bring them out, because they've had some good pre-season. They beat Arbroath 3-1, which I know doesn't sound great, but Greg Stewart on target there, which was good to see. And I beaten St Johnstone 3-0 comfortably away from home. So all the things I hear coming out of the Aberdeen camp seem to be pretty positive. I saw signed Nicky Maynard as well, who was talking very positively. He was saying, I want to win the league. And I was like, he says, I don't know if that's stupid or not. I was like, you know what? Good on you. That's the sort of players we need. So
it's like the Kashinya School of Madness.
Well, but it's good to kind of have someone to keep someone like Adam Rooney on his toes, for example, who's maybe been a bit, relaxed.
A little bit. I think Stockley wasn't offering competition.
No. And I think,
I mean, if they were to get... What was happening with Stevie May and Sean Maloney? Did Sean Maloney sign?
No, Sean Maloney has yet to sign. He brought up his own injury concern, which concerns me.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
As to why he'd bring it up himself. Stevie May seems to be off the table. It looks like the manager at Preston.
Simon Grayson?
No. Yes?
Yeah.
No, is it another Scottish guy?
Oh, Alec Neil now.
Alec Neil.
Simon Grayson moved to Leeds.
Not Sunderland.
Well, I don't know. There's such a merry-go-round. Last I heard he was at Preston, so that kind of sums up my...
I think he went to Sunderland.
Championship knowledge.
Something like that.
This is where we need Darren.
This is where we need Darren. Back on next week.
Hopefully.
So, no, I from where I was in the preview show kind of 2 weeks ago, which if you're looking for more detail on Aberdeen and Celtic's European campaign, go and listen to now. I'm feeling a bit more comfortable with the Aberdeen squad now. I think with the signings, Greg Stewart, Nicky Maynard. Apparently they're wanting to sign one or two more people, but I believe the Europa League deadline is now passed. So
the deadline for this round, for sure.
Yes, so they're not going to come on. I'm still not fussed about Sean Maloney, but no, keep our fingers crossed. That game's on Thursday. 11,000 tickets sold already, which is great for the first round of European qualifying. Attendances usually kind of ramp up.
That's a good sign. On TV? Probably on Premier Sport.
I don't think so. It'll be on the radio.
Someone will be running a stream off Red TV.
I really don't know. So I'll be listening there. Sadly can't go because I've committed to the horse racing on Friday.
Yes, can't wait.
With a few madmen at Musselburgh. So if they get through, I'll be going to the next one though. That's what I'm hoping. So good luck to Aberdeen and Celtic. We'll be keeping our fingers crossed, our toes crossed, everything crossed.
Yep.
Essentially. So I guess we'll nearly round off before predictions, of course. Only two of us this week, so
Dan's will get filled.
We'll get Dan's thoughts later. So some transfer news we've already discussed. Nicky Maynard. I made it sound like DISGUST, like disgusting. The disgusting striker Nicky Maynard. Wine gum salesman. We've already discussed it. So Craig Sibbald is apparently training with Luton Town in League Two. Got a nice wee EasyJet flight down there.
Well, the rumour was he was on their training camp in Slovenia.
Slovenia.
Two big things came out of that was why Luton and how the hell can Luton afford to go to
Slovenia
for the pre-season.
Well, EasyJet are best out of Luton, so maybe some free tickets there.
True, Ryanair as well.
I know.
Well, standstill.
Well, that's where I was flying down there to go
to the regatta.
The regatta, and also the Goodwood Festival in Spain.
Oh.
And when I was queuing on the plane in the airport, travelling lifestyle, I saw Alan Archibald walk straight out of the plane. And you were saying, get that money on the Oxford United job, because it must be. I was like, oh, I'm not someone who puts money on something very often, but I was giving it some serious thought. Aye. Thankfully not, because it doesn't seem to have materialised. But weird that I would see Alan Archibald walk past me and Chris Boyd is in the W.H. Smith queue on the other side. It was a very kind of surreal moment. And I'm amazed I even recognised him. But anyway, aye. Luton League 2.
It's a strange one.
Yeah.
Really strange one.
I mean, I was discussing with you earlier, I was saying, it's Craig Sibbald, Falkirk, good championship player for the last season. I'd put him up there. I think he made the team of the season this year.
He might have done.
I think he did for political reasons, because they had to include a Falkirk player because they finished second, and that was the only reason.
Given the house players on
it. Pretty much. But, we look at his compatriots in the championship, the likes of Cummings going to Nottingham Forest, his fellow Falkirk players.
You're looking at, Holston went to St Johnstone, but maybe McGrandles was
Norwich in the championship.
Norwich. I think he's now at MK Dons.
Yes,
perhaps.
I think he's moved.
And then you've got Kingsley, Fulton, Biabe, Ryan Blair, all at Swansea.
But even, you're looking at Volks went to the championship. Leahy, went to League One, I think.
Ryan Flynn is at Oldham.
Alright, we didn't need the Falkirk alumni roster. But, League Two...
Not many have ended up in League Two straight from Falkirk.
No.
That's the crux of this point.
Would that be a great move for him?
No.
I
think it's a terrible move. I don't know what he's thinking.
I would agree with that. Speaking of other championship moves, Barry Mackay to Nottingham Forest, of course. Went pretty cheap there in the end, didn't he?
I think it was a good bit of business for Nottingham Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible bit of business for Rangers. I don't know what...
500,000?
Aye, that's nowhere near his valuation.
Was he 23?
22, 23.
22, 23, so...
I don't know what was left in his contract. However...
There was clearly just keen to get him out the door.
Very.
So any other transfer news on your end of things, John?
Well, my man Rory Ly's back at Falkirk.
Oh, the saviour. They teased. You remember last season when Danny Rogers came back to Aberdeen? You had to phone in to hear Danny Rogers, speak back to you, and that was the new signing. I wouldn't even ken what Danny Rogers sounds like, because he never howls anything at the defenders because he's a poor keeper. Get ready to be rooted to the bench this season, son.
That's so harsh.
It's true. Aberdeen have the best keeper in the league, arguably, and but no, they trailed it quite well. I think was it you that noted? I think they trailed that it was his former number. Yeah, it was on the side of some picture.
Yeah, the picture of a lock on top left hand corner was number 33.
Number 33. Does Rory Loy really warrant such fanfare?
The real funny bit of this was that last season Fraser Aird was number 33.
Oh, he's coming back. No,
I was like, surely they haven't re-signed Fraser Aird. It's bad enough.
We hope not.
But no, it was Rory Loy. It clicked with me eventually that he was like, he was 33. And if you had actually looked at the Dundee website in the morning, he had been released anyway.
It was obvious. It was totally obvious. Oh dear. Well, good on the Falkirk social media team for creating that fanfare and excitement. And you rolled straight out and bought your season ticket.
I was there the next morning. Doors open. I was there.
There you go. So hopefully it inspired a few other fans to do the same. Any other transfer news on your end, John?
Not much. I mean, talk of this Oliver Neacham going to Celtic from Man City.
Oh yeah, he's allegedly the next Pogba. Well, I was looking at his FIFA stats today. He's been playing out in Italy, isn't it? Genoa.
Yep.
So he was at 65, and I was like, and people were playing saying he actually plays much better than that. He's probably more like a 72. And this is the scouting tool that I use, and I swear to God, it's the skill, like the tool Tottenham uses, and everyone to get their youth players. So there's potential there. I mean, it was Man City he's from.
Yep.
It's interesting, that maybe he would come and the Roberts maybe wouldn't be the priority.
I think Roberts is going to end up moving elsewhere in the English Premiership.
Yes.
I don't. He won't stay at Man City.
No.
But he will end up at Bournemouth or Swansea. Swansea probably.
Swansea would be a good place
be a
for
decent
him to
move
land,
for
I
him.
think. He'll probably be the lower end.
Well, if Sigurdsson moves on from Swansea, then
The
that's
thing about Sigurdsson, though, is he's always going to have that chip on his shoulder of not really succeeding at Tottenham.
Yeah.
And maybe Swansea's the only place that'll work for him.
He's getting on a bit as well. He's not as young as you think. But I mean, they're spending a hooring amount of money anyway.
I know. I'm sure it was Johnston's cousin signed for someone recently as well.
Oh, believe me, there's a name for the past.
I know either. So, get some Icelandics in Scotland. We need. Have we ever had any Faroe Island players here? I don't think we have.
What was Kai Arnason for?
Oh, Iceland.
He was facing.
He's
He would be coming back to Aberdeen.
That'd be cracking. Arnason was such a good player. He's been brilliant in the Champions League. I think for Copenhagen. Mm-hmm. He's kind of moved on a bit now. Where did he end up? Greece or something he was playing?
I'll Google it.
John will find out. But
Talk to yourself.
He used to score screamers for Aberdeen. Holding midfielder. But geez, that man could shoot from miles out. No problem at all. Absolutely insane. I think 34 now, getting on a bit. But, he's got that Icelandic charm and culture. They're all active, eating bananas and apples instead of bovril and greasy pies.
He plays for Omonia.
Omonia.
Not Ammonia, Omonia.
Get that cured with
Greece, maybe?
ammonia.
Oh, Ammonia. It's Omonia in Nicosia. That's Cyprus.
Oh, Cyprus. So on a wee holiday.
He was actually born in Sweden.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Fun fact.
It'd be an interesting one because, the manager's not really there anymore. Don't think many of the players are, so the connection. But, lived in Aberdeen. Nice to see him back, the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. Also this week, Rangers lose the HMRC battle.
You want to go into that?
Well, we'll gloss over it. It was the way they were paying wages was a bit dodgy.
Strip the titles.
Shall we say. They were essentially loaning the players' money, and that was the way they paid the wages to get off with tax. And they ruled no, that these were wages, not loans.
The interesting comment to that though was Rangers weren't the only football club to be doing it.
Oh no.
But the English clubs could afford to pay off HMRC. Rangers decided to fight it.
Yeah. Absolutely bizarre. But yes, as you say, it brings up the prospect of stripping of titles, and I know teams like I think Aberdeen in particular have been very vocal about
Dundee United as well, which I thought, considering the kind of state that their club's in at the moment, that's a bit rich.
Well, I mean,
I know Falkirk will bottle it and won't make any kind of statement.
No, I mean, they would win the league? It was the
Scottish Cup 2009. I don't buy that part. I don't think. Fair enough, strip their titles, but you shouldn't be awarding runner-up.
Yeah.
The title, they shouldn't be scratching out the name of Rangers in every kind of cup that they won and
from the books of history,
getting a bit of Tipex and just going. That's wrong. It should be asterisked and be kind of going.
They won this when they were cheating.
Unfairly. But this also brings up the argument as to whether they're a new company or not, a new club as well.
Yes.
Because it brings into repute with all the stars on their badge.
Please deduct so many titles that they go down to 49 and forcibly, legally, they're not allowed to have 5 stars.
Yep. I mean, that could happen.
I mean, have they done it before? Juventus and Italy when they went down, were they stripped of titles?
I don't think they were.
I don't think it could have been far off.
I mean, they were hammered and they were catapulted into the very bottom of, I think it was Serie D or something like that.
And now they're the strongest team in Italy by far. I mean, for me, this is something that happens quite a lot.
There's too many angles and too many complications that a lot of people don't understand. And I'm talking the tax and the court order and the fact that this is targeted more at the company in terms of Sir David Murray and his dodgy dealings rather than the club and the players.
Yeah.
I mean, of course a player's going to turn around and go, you know what, I'll take as much money as I can. They're not they don't have a master's degree in tax accounting in the UK, It's...
I think, for me, if there was financial ramifications, yes, give the team, the money for winning the Scottish Cup or for finishing second in the Premiership. Ideally, that's what you would do.
It's not practical. And where do you get the money from?
But the money now doesn't exist because the company is so different.
The company's dead. It's a new company.
Yeah, I know.
That's the point.
I know, but they're recognised as the same club by many people, so how can it be different? That's what I don't get.
I don't get that either. Because this was because it's actually BDO, the creditors, who are now liable for all this.
Mm-hmm.
So the pot of money they managed to get out of the liquidation of, I forget the company name at the time, Rangers PLC. The people that were owed money from that pot are now getting less because more of it has to go to HMRC.
Right.
I don't think that has any implications on current Rangers as an entity. But that's a serious.
It's very
issue.
confusing, and it will continue to haunt them.
And I would be quite worried if I was an ex-player.
Aye.
For back then, if I were, I don't know, who had an EBT by then, Nacho Novo or something like that.
So he needs every penny he can get. So we'll wait and see what comes of this. I'm sure there'll be meetings and votes in coming weeks to see how it's discussed.
This saga continues. I'm bored of it.
I think we are.
I'm bored of it.
We can't be bothered with Chris McLaughlin outside Ibrox anymore.
Poor guy's going to need counselling after this.
He's lost all his hair and his soul. Also this week, the Women's Euros starting. Hooray! Scotland play England in the first game.
Aye, it's on Channel 4.
It's on Channel 4.
Aye.
I might give it a wee watch.
I think I will too.
I think women's football, see especially the top teams, technically they are wonderful footballers. It just lacks the pace and the physicality of the men's game.
Yep.
But I think the top teams is definitely better on the eye than what we watch.
Oh, aye.
Weekend. One thing I'd actually like...
They're technically brilliant compared to what we are.
Oh, aye. One thing I'd actually like to see is almost like women's matches played before the men's games. So say you turn up to Falkirk on a Saturday. Why not just have them playing...
Right, so this is like the Porsche Cup before the Formula 1.
Yes!
Right.
Support races!
Okay. Yep.
Yes! Sugar.
It's the undercard.
Yeah, exactly! Get more for your money. Say, turn up early, watch the women's game, and then crack on with your afternoon.
It could work.
Because I think that would pique interest a bit more. You get more girls into the games as well.
Aye, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could have...
For me to chat up, obviously.
Hey.
Ladies.
Maybe we're too young for you.
No, the woman. Sorry. The woman. So no, I think that could be fun. We'll give it a watch and we'll give our opinions on that.
Aye, I'll try and get through the game. No guarantees.
We'll see. I'm sure there's many jokes that could be made as well, but we won't do that. We're very respectable and politically correct here on this podcast.
Yeah, Fraser's not here.
Right. So, shall we do some predictions for this week, John?
Yeah, why not?
So this week we see the beginning of the Betfred League Cup and some Europa League qualifiers. So, this week Falkirk play Stirling Albion, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So, shall we make that one of our games?
Yep.
So, I'm going to say Falkirk. Ooh, we'll discuss more why in our Betfred preview show coming up soon. I'm going to say Falkirk 1, Stirling Albion 1.
Really?
Yes. Well, they beat Falkirk last time.
Is it? A dreadful game.
What are you saying, John?
Rory Lie hat-trick. Falkirk 3-0.
Okay.
The boy's back.
What next game do you want to do predictions on?
Well, it's United versus Kelly.
Ooh, that's a big derby, isn't it?
Right, yep. Haven't played each other since Scottish Cup.
Long time. Ayr had a pretty rotten season last year, so what are you
did.
saying for this one, John?
I reckon one each.
One each. I'll go 2-0 Kelly. I think Kelly have got some good momentum going into this. The next one, let's try and do the Aberdeen Scrockie Bridges.
Scrockie Bridges.
I'm going to be optimistic and say 2-0 Aberdeen here. Oof. What are you saying? Could be a draw.
I don't know anything about that Brijek.
Nobody does. Absolutely nobody does.
1-0 Aberdeen, I think.
1-0 Aberdeen. Good shout. Next one, John.
Oh, what else is on?
Celtic are playing Linfield, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think of it.
Ah, dear. Right. I am going to say for this one, Celtic, are they at home?
No, it's in Linfield.
It's in Linfield.
I do know that part.
Amazingly. I'm going to say Celtic 4-0 here. It could be more.
It could be more. I fancy Linfield to score, maybe 4-1.
4-1. And last but not least,
we have...
Can you tell how pre-prepared this is?
I'm prepared.
We stumbled through this quite well up until now.
I think we will. I've got the fixtures here.
Are Inverness not playing Brecon?
Nah, it's a rubbish one.
You don't want that. Newcastle Hearts?
Nah, it's a pre-season.
I'm giving you options.
I like options, but
Come on, John, we're an hour and 5.
let's go for Queen's Park versus Motherwell because it's actually on the telly.
You're having a laugh, okay. Motherwell have been quite stubborn recently in keeping their players, rejecting some money from Aberdeen, which is stupid because Moult's going to leave anyway.
Well, there's actually more to that because it's actually Queen's Park's 150th birthday.
Oh, is it?
So that's why we're picking
Happy birthday to them. 3-1 Motherwell. What are you saying, John?
I don't know. Motherwell Big Cup day out.
This is predictions, John. I don't care
Predictions.
what you think about the event. I want your score.
Motherwell to win 5-9.
5. Well, we're rubbish at predictions anyway, because last week's nearly all of them were wrong, and we also predicted that Rangers were going to win the group stages. So, on that thought, I think that pretty much brings us to full time for this podcast.
Indeed.
So, thank you very much for listening from me, Paul.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening from John.
And tune in next time for our Betfred League Cup preview.
Yep.
And also check out all our social media pages and especially Sofamanager.com where John puts up some wonderful articles. There's also news on fixtures, transfers and scores on there. And we're also on Instagram and Facebook at Sofamanager and same on Twitter as well at Sofamanager. Is that correct?
Yep.
Hashtag love the show.
Hey.
And leave your comments down below about how idiotic we are, please. We try our very best to respond. Okay, thanks guys.